Cambridge.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question's for the Premier. Premier, you know that our party will be voting against this budget because there's no jobs plan, and that you do nothing to steer our province out of the $30 billion deficit path that you brought us under. And surprisingly, you, along with your finance minister, are accusing our party of electioneering during question period today and yesterday. Well, that's a little rich, Mr. Speaker, considering that yesterday they spent money placing robocalls in my riding and from the member of Burlington's. Premier, were you made aware of these robocalls, and will you take responsibility for them?
Premier. Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I have now done a dozen telephone town halls with over 100,000 people on them, Mr. Speaker, and they want this budget passed. They want the initiatives we brought forward, Mr. Speaker, because they realize it's a full response to challenging times, Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, we are going to call in opposition ridings because the people in those ridings don't want another election. They don't want to see your nomination meetings, what, 2 weeks from now? Mr. Speaker, I don't know why he's being nominated at this point in time. He should be here in the legislature working, Mr. Speaker, to find a balance in the budget, to work with us, to do what the NDP have been doing, Mr. Speaker, to bring forward constructive ideas, to build a better future for Ontario, Mr. Speaker. Cancel your nomination meeting. Let's make this legislature work, please. We just had an election.
I would like to offer the member from Thornhill a caution on the way he named the member or the Minister of Finance. I hope you just hear what I asked. Supplementary.
Well, it's a good thing the Premier has appointed the Minister for Robocalls, and hopefully he hasn't hired Pierre Poutine as his Chief of Staff. Premier, you know we can't vote for this budget. You know it has failed to come up with a jobs plan. It has failed to bring down the government deficit. It has failed to rein in government spending. These are the reasons that this party is not going to vote for your budget.
Can't do it.
So, Premier, if you're going, or Minister of Finance or Minister of Robocalls, if you're at least going to spend some money placing robocalls in my riding, at least be honest with people. Tell them the real reason why we're going into election, because your leadership has failed this province.
Minister of Finance. Be seated, please.
Be seated, please. Thank you. Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, those calls were telling the people of Cambridge that on page 40 of the budget, we're confirming funding officially for the first time for a new Cambridge hospital, and you're